everything, all private
Talk about
money.
your transition.
Yeah,
Did
yeah.
you ever wholesale?
Yeah, so
Love it.
kind of what I was going to talk about, and what I kind of
Yeah.
tell people of like raising money is like I started wholesaling
I ran up a check, I might do it again. Enemies close, had me thinking they're friends. 10 toes down, I'll be free until the end. Crib outside the city, I don't feel safe in my hands. Took so many years, I'm just waiting for the wins. I'm in debt to no one but the one who took my sins. I do it for real, there's no reason to pretend. If I do it once, I do it again. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me, everything is on me. Oh, you matter what? Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me.
Welcome to Millionaire before the age of 30.
Yes, welcome. This show we are designing to give you guys the blueprint of how to become a millionaire before 30. As you guys can see, we have another guest speaker with us today. I'm Ryan Zolin.
I'm Brent Daniels, Mr. TTP, Mr. Talk to People, and we have a 29-year-old house flipping phenom with us, Ricky Morgan.
Hey guys,
Hey.
I'm excited to be here. Quick little thing. When I first started out, got into real estate, I listened to your, I think it was Wholesaling Inc. And I would listen to the stories about you ringing the bell for everyone. And now a few years later, man, it's excited to be here talking to you guys. I love it, man.
So give us a little bit about your business, all right? Let's crack this thing open. One thing that you've done really well, and I want to hit this right off the bat, is you have been loud about what you do in your professional life, right?
Yeah.
You have your own podcast, Flip Lab.
Right.
You've been on Instagram. You've got a ton of Instagram followers. I mean, you've got TikTok, right? You've been loud about all of the different things that you've been doing when it comes to being a real estate entrepreneur. How has that affected, like, does it actually bring income into your business? Does it help you raise funds? Like, talk to us about this.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I think being out here in Phoenix, I really learned from guys like you and Pace and Jamil and all these guys that were being loud. So I was always wondering, I'm like, seems like a lot of work, and they're putting a lot of time and energy into all this. Like, they must be doing that for a specific reason. So when I first started out, I wasn't as loud because I kind of wanted to prove that I was a real estate investor first, not be too loud. So I probably spent a good year starting out just wholesaling and kind of just showing deals, a lot of just like DocuSigns and like, hey, this is the profit we made. Started doing that. Then started kind of increasingly getting louder and louder. And then over time, people just kind of started reaching out to me, asking more questions. Hey, what do you do? How can I get involved? And kind of really showcasing that story. So now I would say, like last year, for instance, we had no deal. All of our deals came direct to seller. This year, probably 25% from social media, referrals, things like that. And I just think it's one of those things where you have to really look long term when it comes to building a brand and creating content, all that. So I think our flipping business has allowed us to kind of grow this brand. So I think it's like, make all that money flipping and then reinvest it into the brand. And it might take, I've been making content for this whole year, and it's really just now starting to pop off. Had like 2 million views on TikTok in the last 2 weeks, 40,000 followers in the last 2 weeks. So it's like, you just got to be consistent with it and give it some time. But
and what do you see? Talk to me about the people that are following you on TikTok that are reaching out. Are they commenting on it? Are they excited about it? Are these people that are local? Are these people that are all over the world? Like, talk to me about TikTok's a whole different thing, right?
TikTok is crazy. So TikTok's really like nationwide. It's not super local.
Yeah.
But one of the interesting things about TikTok is you have two different types of people on TikTok. You have people that are just, talking a bunch of nonsense and putting you down, all this negative energy. Yeah. Then you have this other side of people like, they're just on this For You page, not knowing anything about real estate, and they see a quick post about, hey, I left my 9-to-5 job. A lot of the stuff that I promote is like leaving a 9-to-5 corporate job, kind of escaping the rat race and getting into real estate, because I was doing that fresh out of college. I thought that's kind of what I was supposed to do. Go get a good corporate job, benefits, things like that. I was making $100K a year at 25, 26 in a pretty good sales role, but I realized, like, I don't want to do this for the next 10 years.
Well,
that's tough to give up.
Absolutely, dude. Let's talk about that a little bit, because like I think it's really important for the younger audience to listen in. You said that right when you got out of high school, you went to college and you got a degree, correct?
I did. Yeah, I got a business, bachelor's degree from Rutgers University out in New Jersey. Pretty good business school. Yep. And I would say that's the worst investment I ever made in my life.
Wow. And so with that, and worst investment you ever made. Then you go and you transition to 9 to 5. What did that look like? Was it right to a 9 to 5 after college?
So I was living out in New Jersey, graduated from college, and I knew I wanted business. I thought sales was, you need sales for everything, right? If you want to make money and kind of find success. So I always had back in my mind kind of want my own business, be my own boss.
Right.
But I just didn't think it was really feasible, like at your age, like what you're doing now. So I was applying for jobs. I just took a job out in Phoenix. I applied for a job in New York, and they were like, we're not hiring here, but we are in Phoenix. And I was like, I like to golf. I like good weather. I didn't have a lot hold of me in New Jersey. So moved out to Phoenix, did that sales job for 4 years. And it really taught me, luckily it taught me sales and how to talk to people. I mean, I was selling Yelp ads to business owners.
Yeah.
Business owners hate Yelp,
Right.
so it was a ton of rejection, hard phone calls, which obviously in this business too, you got to get really comfortable with rejection in order to kind of get deals. So it gave me a good base for that. And I think, I think when I was your age, I wasn't ready to have my own business too, so I don't regret taking that job, but
Sure.
I'm happy I took the risk to get out, because I see some people, they kind of stay on the safe side of things, and they stay in that job for maybe 15 years when who knows what would have happened if they left before they got married and had kids and family.
So what got you out then?
I just got sick and tired of that grind. So I worked really hard to get a promotion there, right? And then I was talking to my director one day, and she's like, "What's next? What position do you see yourself as?" And I was like, "I don't want your job. You're getting top down. It's very top down in corporate America." And I was like, "I don't want any of these jobs." So that's when I realized I had to kind of find a different route to go. And that's when I literally, no joke, I went onto Google and I go, what do successful people do? How do people make money on their own? So I didn't love real estate. I had no ambitions really towards real estate, but kind of everything I was reading kind of kept going towards like wealthy people buy real estate and they own real estate.
Yeah.
So then I kind of learned more, okay, how can I use my current skill sets, which is like marketing, sales.
Right.
And that's kind of when I found wholesaling, and, just kind of
This is beautiful. This is beautiful. This is something that I think is so powerful. 3 words. How can I? Right? You get your pad paper up, you write how can I, and then whatever it is, how can I be successful, right? How can I earn in a living or an income or whatever as an entrepreneur? How can I make $1 million? How can I buy assets? Like those things open up our brain to finding the answer. And I am telling you, without a doubt, and I'm speaking to everybody out there, if you let your brain go to work and you focus on that and you really start thinking about the solutions to whatever you're going through, you're going to find that solution. Absolutely. One, it comes in the form of questions to people that already are at where you want to be, right? Questions are the pickaxe to get the gold out of everybody's minds. That's just a fact. Everything that you want is in somebody else's mind right now, without a doubt. It's just one, being very clear on what the question is, and 2, being very clear on who you ask about that
Brent,
question.
I don't know if you remember, but I came up to you, first time I met you was in Tempe at Steve Trang's Real Estate Disruptors podcast when he moved out of the Dave & Buster's. It was that outdoor setting. And I remember I went up to you. I was like, okay, that's Brent Daniels. I have a bunch of questions.
Yeah.
I was very intentional, though. I was like, I asked about certain KPIs, certain things I was struggling with, because you were someone that I wanted to be like. So it's like you got to find someone that's doing what you want to do and be intentional about it.
You just got to be brave enough to ask the questions and be clear with it, right? Sure. I mean, Albert, let's bring Albert in here. We can't forget about Albert. Albert, what have you done? What have you flipped this week? What have you get? Did you lock up a deal?
What do we flip this
some
week?
Deals? What are you doing?
I did lock up a couple deals this week. Real estate
what'd you
world.
get?
We got a couple houses in Gilbert and got one sent my way. I'm trying to lock that one up too.
What are you going to make on those 2 deals, potential 3 deals, Albert?
You know what's funny? I have not checked the numbers. I just solve the problem first and then go back to look. But I know it's a juicy one.
I know the one Gilbert we sold so far, I think he's projected to make like 15 on it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's pretty good.
Awesome.
That's just one alone. So he'll probably walk away with like
the follow-up
20,
on this
530.
one was intense, let me tell you. This one was weeks of follow-up. And it was another one where...
What's their motivation?
Oh, they wanted a new house up in Prescott.
Okay.
So they were trying to move.
They're relocating.
They're relocating. Okay. I knew they were bouncing back and forth. The house was old. And, I just kept on the agent, kept going, kept following it up. And I keep watching for those price drops. I'm like, how about now?
Yeah.
How about now?
Yeah.
It's like, all right, let's go.
Love it.
So you just keep on it.
Sandstone?
Sandstone.
Yeah.
So, guys, this show is designed for question and answers. This is interactive. So we warm it up for the first 15, 20 minutes so that everybody's brain is going and that you are commenting and putting it in there. So any questions that you have about lead generation, any questions that you have about converting those leads into a signed contract, any questions that you have about selling that or what exit strategy that you should consider, any questions about building wealth, any questions about, what to do with the money once you do make it, we would love to have these conversations. We'd love to open it up. There's 4 of us here that are going to respond. So make sure that you are participating in this, and we'll put your questions up here. And if you have any successes this week, make sure that you let us know. We're going to celebrate you. We're going to recognize you, and it's going to be absolutely a great time ringing that bell for you. So, Ricky.
Yeah.
Average income you make per deal.
Our average spread net profit, and it's just me and my partner split the net profit, but it's $75K per flip. And we're flipping primarily in New Jersey.
Okay.
Which is interesting, right? I live out in Phoenix, which is like everyone wants to get into the Phoenix market when they get into real estate. If I can move to Phoenix and do deals there. And we're in a kind of a polar opposite place where everyone's like, New Jersey, who the hell would want to, kind of flip over there?
Right.
So
I think it's a great market. I think you got a lot of older properties, a lot of properties that have wonderful architecture, great feel to them. I know Billy Alvaro, that's a good friend of mine and a lot of masterminds. He's big in that market, does a phenomenal job. He's on the radio there, and he loves it. I mean, there's just so much potential. It's price points are great.
Yeah. I mean, our typical deals, we're all in about for our full rehabs, our all in costs about $150, $175, and we're making about $100K on those full rehabs. So about half our deals are full renovations, and the other half are just either wholesales or as-is flips. But we're pretty much closing on everything because assignments in New Jersey are a bit tough. A lot of people use attorneys. Okay. A lot of sellers are just, New Jersey people are kind of skeptical about everything to begin with, kind of that East Coast vibe. So it's, we've raised private capital too that we have to deploy, which we'll obviously talk more about today. But it's kind of cleaner for us to just close on everything. So our average deals between, the as-is and the full rehabs go to about $75K, but the full rehabs we're averaging like closer to 100 to 120.
Love it. Wow. Love it. Awesome. And give us the arc. Give us those steps that you took. So this is, Matt, will you pull up the 5 steps to becoming a millionaire before 30? So it starts off, right, Ricky, with doing your first deal.
Right.
Just do a deal, right?
Totally.
And this is coming in different forms. We're all in real estate. We're going to expand this into crypto. We're going to expand this into drop shipping. We're going to expand this into all sorts of different things as we progress in our show here. But doing a deal, right? Doing your first deal, then getting full-time, making enough to go full-time in this business. You made that transition from working a corporate job to this job. So full-time in this business, killing off your debt, right? Not making all this money and then giving it back to some interest payment, investing in the assets and then financial freedom. So at what point did you go from being a wholesaler to I want to flip properties across the country?
Yeah, so it started out kind of that first deal was actually a wholesale deal in Phoenix. Shout out to Templeton Walker, buddy. Social media. He got a deal because he was using social media from a new guy like me. Right. I brought him an opportunity. He kind of took care of the rest, and that was like my first wholesale deal. So that was kind of the proof of concept. Just made $5,000 on that. But that first deal, and that the mindset shift that you have after that closes.
I think the verbiage you used was perfect. It's proof of concept. I know I could speak for myself here, and especially even Albert. Like when we first got into the wholesaling like heavily, it was more of having that understanding of like, how can I do this? How do I make the transition? Because again, you can understand too, being young. A lot of people, a check of $5,000, if you're under 30, dude, I mean, that's a pretty big check handed to you.
Dude, I was like, this is the biggest bonus check I ever got.
And correct me if I'm wrong here, but Temp, you said, took care of everything. So for you, it was like, oh my gosh, like $5,000. Why don't I do this like 10 times a month? Why don't I start doing, instead of $5,000 checks, $10,000 checks? Then I can grow it and start doing we're at the point now where a $10,000 check, I'm like, let's go. 15 of them in a month. Let's get it. Let's get it. So proof of concept for me was a big thing. So I really respect that, and I understand that. I really, really, really do.
Yeah, so. I think, it obviously starts there. And then, I was a little different. So I started learning, educating, probably read 50 books about real estate in 2017, educated for a year, listened to every one of your podcasts, Steve Trang's podcast. Yep. So I did a lot of education, and then I started taking action when I still had a full-time job. Started doing marketing, started talking to sellers. I didn't land a deal, but I felt so confident that I had a high-stress sales job where I had to make 100 cold calls a day for that.
Yep.
So I just didn't really have kind of whatever the energy within me to do it. So I said, you know what? I'm young. I didn't have kids, right? I didn't have a lot of expenses. I think my monthly burn for me to just live, to pay my bills and eat was like $1,700 total. I was eating ramen. I was eating just tuna fish for out of a can for like a year and a half. Yeah. So you got to make those sacrifices sometimes up front. Yep. So I did that.
The entrepreneur nutrition guide.
Food's got a little better now, but so I did that. I quit my job without doing my first wholesale deal. June of 2019. Yeah. Okay. I just said, you know what, this doesn't work. It is what it is. I did save up though, like $30,000 from my sales job as kind of a runway to give myself 6 months of living expenses and some money for marketing. Got my first deal in September. Was down still. I was still struggling. Was down to like $5,000 in October, and then in January, I popped my first like $80K deal. It was just next day double close. Wow. That was when I was like, I'm not gonna have to go get another job. That was like the moment in the
breaks
deal.
Your brain, dude.
Where literally. I got a year my yearly salary in one check, and that's when I was like, you know what, like. It took kind of that pressure off too, and I was just like, foot on the gas still, but it was really the moment when I realized.
Where did that deal come from?
So that came from a ringless voicemail.
Love it.
And what was crazy about this, I was struggling
Old school.
I was struggling at that time, right? I know with all this stuff now, right?
Yeah.
But I was struggling at the time, and the ringless voicemail came in at like 2 a.m.
Yep.
And I like rolled over in bed. I was tired. I was like, it's probably nothing. Probably someone to tell me to go F off or whatever, And but it wasn't. It was a motivated seller. They inherited a hoarder house property. He was kind of all over the place, and I got to get this thing sold. I don't want the neighbors seeing this house. He was very private about. Sure. He didn't want anyone really in the house and seeing it. So we were like, we offered that convenience to him. We asked him what price he needs for it, right? So, which is a big thing I promote is, solve their problem, figure out what they need to walk away with. Don't limit yourself on that spread by making an offer that makes sense for your calculations. See if they're happy and you solve all their problems and you can make a bigger spread. Cool. So, we contracted that, and then we realized that was our first time we actually funded our first deal.
Okay.
Because it was an 80K spread, and we really didn't want to assign that. We just wanted to take ownership of the title, kind of get that security. Right. So we found a private lender. I think it was like a 100K buy, and then we sold it literally the next day on the MLS for I think 178.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
love it.
No rehab, no nothing. It. And then we watched this flipper too that bought it from us. He took a year to make it.
Real quick, where'd you get the money to buy it?
We raised private money from at this point we did a couple deals, right? And then we went to a friend reached out. He's like, "Hey, I got some money on the sideline. I just don't want to do real estate. I don't know this, but it's sitting in the bank, not doing anything." And we're like, "Dude, we'll get you in on our deals."
Listen, real quick, just to not to slow the momentum here. There are so many people in your life. I am telling you right now. If you really, really, really get loud about what you're doing in real estate, there are so many. I don't care what background you come from. I don't care what area you come from. I don't care whatever. You show that you're proactive. You show that you're out there making an impact in your community when it comes to real estate and discounted properties. Yep. There are people that are following you, that are in your Facebook, that are in Instagram, that are in TikTok, that want to give you money.
Yep.
They want to do it. The title company will take care of the paperwork. That's the least thing that you have to worry about. It's just getting the commitment and working on the terms with those private money lenders, and they come. They will fund that deal.
They will, and
there's too much money right now. I'm telling you, this is the place to do it. Go ahead, Albert.
You know what's funny? You say a lot of people have money. It's usually not the person that in your family that you know is wealthy, that obviously is wealthy. It's usually the person that has a great job, just your typical mom and pop that does a 9-to-5, but they have saved really well. People don't know they're wealthy, but people have $20,000-$30,000 just sitting there that they want to invest with you, and they're not quote unquote wealthy. You don't know that they're the wealthy family member, or your rich friend. No, it's your teacher next door. It's the guy that's just owning a little shop. He has money sitting. Just got to get loud for them to give you that money.
That's it.
Right. Like I had someone reach out, someone I went to high school with. Haven't talked to the kid in 15 years, right? And he just reached out. He goes, "Hey, I've been watching you. I've been seeing what you're doing. It's amazing. I'm inspired. I've been wanting to get into real estate." And he's like, I got in a car accident, unfortunately, but he's like, the good part is I'm all good now, but I'm going to get $200,000 from insurance, and I have no idea what to do with it. I don't want it sitting in the bank. So here's someone just, I didn't grow up in a rich town or a bunch. I think some people think you need to be at the country club to find private lenders. Our private lenders, one guy owned a body shop for 25 years and sold it. Now he just doesn't know what to do with it. Someone else making $80K a year, and now he's 60 years old and wants to diversify out of the stock market, lend against his 401k, or take a HELOC at where he's paying 4% interest, and then I charge him 10, and he's making 6% doing nothing.
He's making the spread. The first guy that I raised funds from was named Jim Younger. He was 1,000 years old. He smoked. He had to have smoked in his lifetime 3.5 million cigarettes. You know what I mean? I mean, he was phenomenal. He would totally unassuming. Drove an old truck. $20 million in the bank. $20 million in the bank from selling his half of the company to his son. They owned a framing company, and he was the grandpa of a buddy that we would, hang out with. It was like a friend of a friend. I'm telling you, it's bananas, and that's how I bought a lot of properties down at the foreclosure auction with him. We split it 50-50, whatever profits we made on it. We started, and then we negotiated 75-25. So they were getting 25, we were getting 75.
And that's what's so cool about private money is you're in control of the terms, right? So when you first start out, you might have to give equity to get those funds, but you should. You give them a really sweet deal, especially if you know they have some money. And they're going to be able to fund more deals.
Proof of concept.
Give them a bunch of, maybe give them good equity terms. And then in the future, now, we only pay 10% interest only on the back end, which is, pretty good terms. But when you start out, don't be scared to, give them some equity, really sweeten the pot just for the proof of concept. And then they're like, wow, he's an executor. He knows what he's doing.
Love it.
And then they'll open it up to even more money.
Love it. Let's open it up to questions. Alejandra's giving me the sign of, we only have people that want comps. Let's hold off on comps for a second here. Let's open this conversation up about raising money, about finding these opportunities. I've got a guy literally right now who's buzzing in I've got a deal in Paradise Valley real quick before we open this thing up, just to give us some more time, right? I got a guy in Paradise Valley. Thing's worth 1.6 as is. Big acre lot, right? Decent sized house. This thing's like 3,800 square feet, right? It's worth 1.6. He wants 1.2 owner financed, interest only, 3.25%, right? So the payment on this thing would be like $3,000 a month. And this is, you could move into this thing, right?
Wow.
Owner finance type thing. He's being a little stickler on some things. He wants 20% down. But I think I might go the route of just one. He wants 1.1 cash, or 1.2. He wants an origination fee of 1%. He wants some other things. He wants closing costs. He wants all this other stuff. Anyway, it's interesting, this deal. I'm going to text him, see if I can get him on the phone. I don't think it'll be until after the show's over. That'd be interesting to call during the show. But we're close on it. We're real close. And this was a referral from one of my students.
What's your end goal on it?
Buy and hold.
Airbnb? I mean, that's
can't Airbnb and PV.
Oh, yeah.
Paradise Valley doesn't allow it. But I would rent it for a while and just see where the chips fall in that area. I mean, it is surrounded by $4, $5, $6, $7 million house. It might be something in like 4 or 5 years that my wife and I want to just, build our dream house or whatever. I feel like I live in my dream house, but who knows where I'm going to be in 5 years?
Right.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, I think it's a really interesting opportunity. But the reason I bring it up is I would own an asset like that for everybody and do something called a cost segregation where they look at it. It costs about, I don't know, 10, 20 grand to do, but they look at all of the financials on this property, and then you get massive depreciation on your income, because I paid a lot in personal taxes, so it's just a strategy, one, of getting that the taxes lower so that we can keep some more, so that we can invest more. But listen, they're going to get you to. One thing that I want everybody to know is you're going to pay taxes one way or another. It's going to happen now or it's going to happen later. That's the rent that we pay to live in this country. All right? So let me text this guy. Let's open this thing up. Do we have any questions that are ready to go, Hondra? All right. There you go.
CEO Sal. Let's go for it. How do you find out if a house is under contract, if it has any liens on it, and how do you pay out the existing leftover mortgage balance? It's a solid question. So when you open up escrow with the title company, they're going to do a title search on it, and they're going to basically open up what's escrow once earnest money is deposited. They're going to check everything on the property. They're going to see if there's any liens, if there's any back taxes, if the mortgage is up to date. And title handles all of that. This is the beauty of being on the investment side. I always say stay in your lane. Let title do title work. Let them tell you that there's liens. Let them tell you about what the payoff is going to be. And then you get the settlement sheet. It's going to be like an estimated settlement statement that's going to say this is the payoff. It has all the fees, the debits, credits, and everything with the title company.
Yeah, people don't realize how much the title company just takes care of all of that stuff. So many new investors think they got to kind of have all that stuff figured out.
Yep.
Yeah, when you're having an incredible title and escrow or closing attorney, just depends on what state you're in. That is part of your team, and they're instantly part of your team. This isn't somebody that you have to pay. They get paid through the transaction.
Yep.
Right? I mean, some areas, some states, some smaller markets, they're going to charge you an upfront fee, or they're going to charge you a fee if the deal gets through or not. But for the most part, they don't get paid unless that deal gets done. So they're going to do everything they can to clear up that title, because they don't get paid. And they don't get paid title insurance, which is the silliest insurance that's ever been created in the history of mankind. They're literally ensuring that they did their job right, but whatever. You know what I mean? Let's let the title companies be these hugely profitable businesses and do all this work. But they do incredible work making sure that these deals get done. Awesome. CEO Sayao. I love that. Ben, there he is. There's a TTP guy. I just bought my first Airbnb property in Nashville, Tennessee. Are you guys doing Airbnbs as well? I am following people who are making like $50K a month with 4 to 5 Airbnbs. Well, I assume following you mean probably you saw them on TikTok and then you went to their Instagram or something like that. There's some decent people that are on YouTube that are doing that type of thing. Just remember, Airbnbs, you just gotta, what lifestyle do you want? Okay. Do you guys know anybody? Are you guys doing Airbnbs? Are you thinking about Airbnbs?
Thinking about
Is there the one thing that is very, because I had one and I moved in Mike Mahoney into it, but it was a lot. Management.
Yep.
I mean, people were complaining. People were like, I'm going to buy you a new doormat. I don't like your doormat. It's like, what? And then they wanted a discount for buying the doormat, right? Jeez. They wanted to get a refund for the door. I mean, it's things like that you have to deal with, Ben. So just remember, if you can get somebody to manage it, I think, you should. You have to find somebody that's really, really good at it and has the patience for that, because it's a nightmare. Yeah. But 50K a month is possible with Airbnb, but what are your costs? What are your expenses? Remember, you got to turn that every single time, and you've got mortgages on these properties. Some people just lock them up on a lease agreement that allows them to then go lease it as a vacation rental.
Arbitrage?
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, Luke Rothfold does a really good job Yeah, and Ben, you know who he is. Luke, he plays the video games while he cold calls. He's Viking Boys on YouTube. They do a really good job of breaking things down there and how to manage that and how to do that right. Because to make the big money in Airbnbs, they have to be special, unique properties. They have to be different. It has to be an experience more than just housing.
Yeah, so my house I just moved into in Gilbert. Originally, it was going to be an Airbnb, and it's got the resort style backyard and big piece of property. But now, like after moving into it, I'm even realizing it's like it has this like crazy pool with all these like waterfalls and things on this app. Multiple times I've ran into like trying to turn the hot tub on, some issue with the app, and then I'm like. And then, like, the hot water heater needed to be replaced. I'm just like, if we had, like, Airbnb tenants in here, it would be like, oh, the hot tub lights aren't turning on. It's, like, constant, phone calls, communication. So what me and my partner are thinking, we like the idea of some short-term rentals, but maybe more like 30-day minimums, and kind of on the high-end side where it's like if you're going to get someone to drop, let's say, 10 or 15 grand for a month on an Airbnb, there's a good chance that the type of quality of tenant is going to be a little higher. But at the same time, it's a lot of management. I think always be careful whenever it looks a little too good to be true, when the numbers just show like that, always be careful with that. And I think you always should make sure it works as a long-term rental in case
it doesn't work as an Airbnb.
Or those rules are constantly changing too. So it's
Ben, whenever I see 50K or something like that, I cut it in half and then I cut it in half again. I really do.
Yeah,
I really do. I go to
how much
25. So they'll probably make 12,000. It's a great living.
Yep.
It's they'll make 150K a year off of it and probably try to get more. But obviously they're going to supplement and really make the money selling you courses on it. Yeah. All right. Craig, Brent Daniels. My question is, can you explain everything the platform covers since it's all in one platform? Which platform for Craig? I don't know what platform. Craig, can you give me? Is it the coaching or is it batch leads? It might be batch leads. Yeah, so batch leads obviously is going to, it's a wonderful place to put in all your lists. You skip trace through there. And the nice thing the reason we use batchleads.io is it makes sure that we don't skip trace the same addresses over and over and over again, which is huge because we do, a lot. So it really helps out to not, have that added expense. It lets us stack the list so that it shows us all, if these are on, like, are they on the code violation list, the pre-foreclosure list, tax default? They're on all three. The more, the multiple layers of distress, the more motivated those property owners are going to be, which is a fantastic, fantastic way to niche down your lists and go after and be obsessed with the people that are on multiple lists. And you can text blast.
We mail actually through batch leads too.
Awesome.
Which is awesome because all of our data's there. And then, like you said, you pull those niche lists. Not only can you skip trace, but it's kind of new on batch, but we actually been sending all of our mail campaigns through batch now, which is really cool.
Awesome.
Nice.
These guys have Albert and Ryan have no idea what we're talking about because they get all their deals off of the MLS. So they're like, you guys, what are you guys doing? Oh,
mailers?
Yeah. What are we talking about?
Spending $10K on
mail. You guys
mail
do marketing? We don't do marketing. Yeah, I figured.
Yeah, we use it in our business too since we started. So.
And Craig, it's a phenomenal. I mean, it's the investment is, you get an incredible ROI from it. RC Wholesale.
All right. You want to take this one, Ricky?
Yeah. What would be the daily steps to take to be consistently closing at least 2 deals a month?
I love it.
I think actually the answer is right in the question, which is consistency. So to me, I think that's the secret. I mean, for anything you want to do in life, really, is just being consistent. But especially when it comes to just closing deals, those good deals, it is timing and a little bit of luck. But the way you get yourself in those opportunities is by being consistent, taking those daily actions. So depending what you're doing for marketing, if you're cold calling, make sure you're being consistent at it, doing it to the best of your ability. If you're sending mail, make sure you're picking up all those mail calls and then calling everything back. And so I think consistency in your marketing and then consistency in talking TTP, talking to sellers. I tell people all the time, if you're not, new people are like, what should I be doing every day? I was like, see how many sellers, see how many different sellers you talk to in that day. I think that's one of the best KPIs. Like people ask, we don't keep track of a lot of marketing KPIs and stuff, but if you're brand new and you want to just keep track of something, how many sellers are you talking to each day? And if you're talking to enough homeowners, eventually that's how you're going to find those situations, find those problems to solve for them. So you need to be just consistently talking to people every day, and two deals a month is easily possible.
I love it.
Absolutely.
I love how we're all matching. I love how we're just pouncing off of this J.C. Penney family photo background here. You know what I'm saying? I love it. Look at that. That needs to go. Matt's so mad at me for this, but you know what? Whatever. We'll figure it out. Tone the Kid. How do I figure out ARV before running the numbers on a property? Do I look at the Zestimate, or is there another equation? I have a few leads, but I'm hesitant about my offers. I love this. How do you guys comp? I'll give a quick one, a quick way to do that. But what would be a quick way to comp if you didn't have a license, if you didn't have access to the MLS?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
So Zestimate's not a bad place to start. Zestimate, or I believe you like PropStream, right?
We use PropStream too.
Yeah.
Okay. So I would say one of those two. Our formula is super easy, just so you can break it all down. We take whatever the ARV is, or maximum allow, or our ARV is going to be a comp that's going to be in the neighborhood specific to where our subject property is. So we're not crossing any major streets. We're staying in this pocket of a neighborhood. We're trying to find something that's pretty similar in square footage, bed, bath count, pool, no pool, whatever. We're trying to figure out what property we can compare to. Let's just say, for the example, it's like $250 is the price. We're going to take that $250 as our ARV, times it by 0.93. We're going to then subtract our repairs. We're going to subtract our desirable profit, and if there's a wholesale fee, and that's going to bring you to whatever your offer is. So that's how we calculate our offer number. As for the ARV, like I said, it's very just specifically picking that neighborhood. I'm not crossing any major streets, because you may have one neighborhood that's going to be like a $200,000 neighborhood, and that house right across the street may be 1.1 million. So not too comparable. I don't cross any major streets. That's the best advice I've got.
Yeah, for us, it's pretty similar. We use PropStream if we don't have the MLS access in that area. And just within a quarter mile, I think mistakes I see people make when they're calculating ARVs, they're not looking at things like the year built. They'll send out a comp, and it's like a 2007 built, and the subject's like a 1960 built.
For sure.
You know, that's very different. In New Jersey, it's a little harder too, because the properties are older, more unique,
and they're not cookie cutter too.
They're not cookie cutter, right? They're all a little different. We have to look out a lot for like septic, underground oil tanks, boilers, like things like that. So I think it's very market dependent, but try to keep your comps very close. And I think even if you don't use PropStream, a great easy way that I do, if like someone sends me a deal off social media and I want to look at it quick, go on Zillow, put in the property address in the subject, and then just pull down. And
I was just going to tell
recently sold. Recently sold. Filter it though. Zillow's automatic filter is like last 3 years for recently sold. So change that to like 90 days. And then boom.
So what he's saying is, you're on Zillow, right? And you're looking at a thing. You swipe down on it, and you're going to see. Hold on. Get down there. You're going to see right here, it's going to pull up a map. And what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're staying right around it. You don't want to cross any major streets first off. And this is just showing the properties for sale, but then you can go to the filter and get and then go to the ones that are recently sold right here. And those are going to be the yellow ones that you see. And that's going to give you a good idea just quickly on what it is. And what I like to do, Tone, is I like to go, if I had $0 for PropStream, which hopefully at some point you do get PropStream, $99 a month. I mean, it's ttpdata.com.
Yeah, totally worth it.
It's totally, it's not even close, but it's really, really, really worth it. The cost versus what you get out of it is bananas. But anyway, if you were just to do this for free, I would go to Zillow, I'd go to Redfin, and I'd go to Realtor.com. I'd take the estimates on all three of those. I would add them all up, and I'd divide that by 3. All right, I take all those divided by 3, and that's going to give you a pretty good idea of what that ARV is going to be. Now, it's not going to be perfect. Definitely use that technique with the Zillow app on your phone, or get PropStream on your phone, and it's like PropStream shows you the 100 neighbors that are closest to your subject property, all of their sales. And then you sort by the date that they do it. All 100, I have been doing it every single day, comping properties. All 100 is going to be comping a lot of properties here for our students. Anyway, Huh? Yeah. Don't email Alejandra right now. She's in training mode. But listen, Alejandra at talktopeople.com. No, I'm sorry. Anyway, so yeah, there you go, Tone. Just take those 3, average it out, and then PropStream does a really good job. You hit that neighbors button and do the sale date, and you find really, really, really solid comps. Yeah. Great question.
Yeah,
Thank
super
you.
important too. Biggest mistake I see new people getting into it is just not knowing how to properly comp, figure out ARVs, repair costs, get into MAO. So.
Deal or no deal is the toughest, is the biggest hurdle. Once you figure out deal or no deal and how to recognize deals, then that mental antenna starts seeing them everywhere. You start seeing opportunities everywhere, and then all of a sudden that's how you get. And that goes back to that other guy's question of how do I consistently get 2 deals a month? Is you shoot for 1 a week, and every single day you wake up with one question. Who's going to sign a contract today? Who's going to sign an agreement today? Whatever you want to,
What does Grant Cardone say? Who's got my money?
Who's got your money?
Yeah.
Well, I feel like that's douchey, but anyway, I really do. I really do. I really do. But honestly, the whole, who can I help out today is really the heart of that. But who's going to sign a contract? Who's going to do it today? And that you wake up honestly with that question, you're going to find somebody.
Yeah.
Right. You're going to find the deal. Yep.
When we're in the new studio, we should just have a new show called Comping with Alejandra.
Comping with Alejandra. It's going to be on right after this show. There you go. Michael Kenway. What if you want to get into BRRRR? I love it. I'm looking to shift my goal to long-term investing instead of wholesaling and flipping. How much should you have to start? I love it. Well, remember, all wholesaling is the art of finding discounted properties. So to do a BRRRR, you need to have discounted properties, right? Do you have, Albert, are you messing around with BRRRR? Are you
not yet? We're still on the wholesaling flipping right now.
Why?
Spread.
Need the right spread for it. It comes with the right deal.
Yeah.
And if we're good at wholesaling flipping right now, we're going to capitalize on that as long as we possibly can. And then when we start seeing a shift, then it's like, okay, now we shift strategies because I don't want to bite off a little bit of everywhere.
Yeah.
We're really good at this. Stay here.
Yep. Awesome.
Well, yeah, and also too, I mean, like the big thing is when the concept of BRRRR or like a BRRRR method is that you need to have enough spread that when you refi, you're only pulling out 75 to 80% in the cash out refi. So if you don't have the spread to make it make sense, a lot of times when we run our numbers, we're not going to be in the green there. Right. So,
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, as far as BRRRRs for us, we've done a couple, but we're much more focused on active income right now. I think at least our strategy, especially like for this show, right, Millionaire Before 30 and everything, if you can figure out how to get your active income to $500,000 a year, $1 million a year, all of a sudden your hold strategies and creating that passive income become a whole lot easier. You don't have to get super creative all the time and BRRRR all your money out of each rental you want to have. So I think if you get really good, and once again, if you get great at finding deeply discounted properties, the whole BRRRR method becomes very easy. But it's a long process too to do a bunch of BRRRRs. So it's
why. Talk to me about
loans.
Yeah,
loans take time.
Loans take
like conventional.
You
loans.
need 2 years
right.
work history. You need 2 years tax returns. You need to have the income to be able to support that loan, right? So you need to. This is conventional loans. I mean, this is like buying any house.
Right. Yeah. Hard money loans and private money loans, you don't need any of those requirements pretty much. So depending where you're at, it's like, we weren't even really, and you could get creative too. I know a couple friends in town that do a lot of BRRRRs, and they bring in a W-2 employee who wants to get in and kind of be that bankable person. But I think starting out, I would more ask even Michael, as far as like, why do you want to focus on maybe the long-term strategy as far as not, making active income right now? I don't know your position, but I think a lot of people.
That's a really good point.
I bought my first deal I ever did. I bought a rental, and it was making $400 a month in cash flow. It was good, but I realized, I put 20% down, and I realized, man, this is going to take me like 10 years before I could like kind of quit my job and have enough money to support that. So, I just think it's a good strategy, but I would focus on, once again, if you find good deals.
Well, dude, and I like what you said about the long-term wealth. Like, for me, I can actually relate to that, and I can tell a story even. So when I was over at a brokerage, it was EXP, it was a multi-level marketing company.
Sure.
I was on the fence about leaving, and I was actually with Temp. It was the whole multi-level marketing company. He was at the top, and I was underneath, so I was learning wholesaling and flipping. But where the catch came in was I was just succeeding, and I was getting a lot of cash flow coming in passively from their share revenue, all that stuff. But where I was struggling was I felt like I was succeeding at the cost of my team. And so I sat down with Steve Trang, and I was like trying to like weigh out pros and cons, and he brought up like a really good point. It was exactly what you had just said. It's the long term or short term. And the big thing is if you're going to go the short term route, it's making a lump sum of money in that short term. So what Steve had asked me was, yeah, you can go and you'll be a millionaire if you stay at this brokerage. The rev share and the stock trading, everything, like by year 7, you'll be in a great position. You'll be under 30 years old. You'll probably have at least 6 figures a year just coming in passively. But what if I told you that you could take this next 12 months and I'll show you how to make $1 million in 12 months, and then out of that $1 million, show you how to invest that. So same concept goes here with the BRRRR method. It's like long-term, short-term. Reason why Albert and I flip and wholesale is we can make $100,000 in a month wholesaling it right now. You're not going to make that $100,000 month 1 with the BRRRR. No. So good point.
Mara. God, I love Mara. She's great out of Florida. When do you suggest starting to transition to flipping after wholesaling and making close to $500,000? Brent did that for us. No, Mara, you did that for you. You're a beast out there. You know love you it. Are. I love you. You're the best. Come on.
Let's go.
500 with that. You know,
awesome.
Mara, you know we're doing a podcast. Don't you hide from me. You know you're going on the Wholesaling Inc. podcast. I'm going to find you. We're gonna do this, but I think it's a personal. I really do. You know, it just depends on if you want to let your creative spirit loose, okay? Because it is a distraction off of what you're doing right now to make that money. I mean, to make the income that sounded so like make that money to bring in that income, right? No, honestly, it's like you've got a good machine here to be able to do that. When it gets to flipping these properties, I think it's case by case. I think it's project by project, and I think, you know, at least for me, Mara, it's a gut instinct. It's a gut instinct that says, you know what, this could be a special project. This could be something. It's one of those that has a huge spread. It's got a huge upside. And I only will do a flip. I'll only take it down if I can double the amount that I would on an assignment fee, on a wholesaler, on a traditional assignment. So if it's going to give you double the profits, if it feels good in your gut, if you feel like you're going to be connected to this project and it's not going to turn into this nightmare situation where it's always and constantly taking up space in your brain and taking your energy, right? Because it does. This is a totally different thing when you're worried about people breaking in and stealing appliances. People just stole all your stuff.
Yeah, things happen like that. You know, bad things happen.
In a good area.
I know, yeah.
That's a good, I mean, that's a whole family neighborhood.
Right.
Somebody broke in and stole your whole studio for your podcast.
Yeah, you just never
It was
know
me, but I don't, you know.
I know. I saw a few of the cameras back there. I was just saying. I was like, oh, those Sonys look familiar.
Matt and Daniel got in there and stole it up.
Dude,
but,
there's a new studio coming. Like,
Right. I know you guys are building a new studio and stuff.
No, but Mara, I think that's the $500,000. I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I think that if you want to do the flip, make sure that you're making double what you would. And I would also just encourage you to just start taking some of these deals off the table, keep them for your portfolio, build your wealth. The day that you close on these things, you're adding that to your net worth. You're adding that equity to your net worth, and just building that. And once you have, the beautiful thing is once you have a bunch of assets, you know, banks will start throwing money at you like at really, really, really ridiculous rates. But you have to have the assets. So that's awesome. You're the best, Mara. That's cool.
Ooh, from Addison. All right. What is the difference between hard money and private money? Which is better? This is another solid question. So the big difference between hard money and private money is that hard money is typically institutional. It's coming from a big corporation and someone that's backed by a lot. Private money is going to be your friends, families. It could be friends of friends. It could be literally someone you walk to a gas station and you're wearing a shirt that says, "We buy houses." And they're like, "Oh my gosh, I've got all this money. Here's my card. Like, let's find a way to do business together." So that's the biggest difference. Is going to be private money is usually going to be a little bit more sexier terms and appealing wise.
Yeah.
Hard money is going to be a little bit more of steeper costs, like hard money. I mean, this is literally what it's going to cost you an arm and a leg. You're talking 10, 15% down with 10% interest, and that's going to be a good rate now. Private money, I mean, I've seen people go no money down where the private investor will put up the full amount, and then you're paying them 8%.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's the biggest difference.
Awesome.
Yeah. I think even when you're trying to get money when you're first starting out, you're probably going to have to go maybe hard money on your first couple.
Absolutely.
Just because it's like people are always, if you have no proof of concept, who's going to give you money? And also it's like, you probably shouldn't really be taking like friends and family money until you really know what you're doing.
Absolutely.
It's like, I'd rather lose some, I don't know about you guys, I'd rather lose some institutional money than a friend of a friend's.
Yep.
But once you have good proof of concept and you're buying good deals, we transition into private
you can
money.
use both too. So
Right.
like we use hard money for our down payment of the purchase of the original purchase amount.
Private money.
And then we use hard money. And then we use private money for our rehab.
Oh, got
Right,
it.
right.
So,
And
like, make
usually, like you get usually 80% from like hard money, and then okay, we have to find that other 20%.
Yep.
That could be just private lenders, lines of credit, credit cards.
Or,
They could
or
be
even
so
using
many
your own
different
money
creative
then
ways,
at that
or your
point.
own money.
Like 20%.
Yeah.
Then okay. why
Right.
not? Yeah.
Yeah, I partner with Luke Rodfold and Jake and that whole team with Viking Boys and lend them for their repairs, for their down payments, for whatever. They're into all those deals for like nothing down, but they've got an incredible product that they put out and an incredible resume of success. That's all you need.
Yep.
I'm telling you, if you do like 5 deals and you show that you're being proactive and you know how to find discounted real estate, you can raise millions and millions of dollars. I am telling you, I don't care what market you're in, you can do it. I'm telling you.
Money is so easily accessible right now too.
Yeah. Good question.
From Maurice.
All right. What do you do on those day life situations hit you and your energy is down, but you know you still need to be proactive? So for me, good question. And that's where I think it does start with your mindset. Even going all the way back to 2017, I got heavy into self-development, fitness, routine. Like you got to get your mind right first if you're going to be successful in all this. But I think it comes to like you watch this show, dude. You motivate people, you hype people up, but that's going to burn out soon.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, it's hard to compete with Brent's
Listen,
motivation. But you need inspiration.
Motivation is this. Yeah, exactly.
You need inspiration. You need a strong why to do it. And I think you have to realize, if you just wake up every day just saying, I need to go find houses to buy, and just understand like every no is closer to your next yes. Every day still, like the phone calls come to my phone, and I get told, you're a scammer, you're an idiot every single day.
Every day.
Every day. And but you just have to realize, like, I feel sorry for those people calling me because they don't understand like the life that we have. So I think just understanding what you're building and the life that you're creating for yourself, and it's all hard work, but what's better than doing hard work where you're building up a business and a lifestyle for yourself and family? You're not building up someone else's dream.
Right.
And to me, that's what really keeps me going every day.
But I mean, to keep your business going, right? We all root back to the same thing. It's all the mindset. I mean, I'm looking at Maurice, your question. What do you do in those days that life situations hit you? You've got to think of it differently. It's not why did this happen to me? It's why did this happen for me? When I used to work my 9 to 5, I would think, why am I stuck in traffic? Like, why me? But I thought, well, maybe it's for me because someone said maybe there's an accident up there. That could have been me. If I hit that, if I ran that light, that could have been me right there. So life happens for me, and you switch your thinking to say, why me, why me? It's this happened for me, and you keep it going. To be motivated and be proactive, it's taking responsibility for yourself and thinking it's not being motivated to do stuff, it's doing stuff to be motivated, right? All you got to do is, hey, clean your house today. You're going to feel great. You did something. What's the next thing? All right, I'm going to call a seller now. Great. What's next? I'm going to close a deal now.
Yep.
And that started from just doing something to be motivated, and that cycle just keeps going and going and going, and you power through like a freight train, man.
I love it. Maurice, listen, sometimes this is really, really, really positive, right? When your energy's down, because now you know what you don't want to do with your day or situations or whatever. So I would investigate internally what is draining your energy. I am really, really, really big on just increasing the things that give me energy and staying away from things that drain me from energy. But on a totally different track, you need to move your body. Move your body around. Do something. Go for a run. Go to the gym. Do something. Get on the phone, walk for a while, and just make calls. Whatever it is, find somebody positive in your life that you can, call up that gives you a boost of energy, and really investigate what are the things in your days that drain you of energy, and hold on to it. Don't be obsessive about it, but that's what you're working to do, is to get rid of all that stuff. Right. Listen, you can have all the money in the world, but if you have no energy, right. And we see people that are wildly successful on paper, wildly successful, that are just dead shelled, no stars in their eyes, just dull, just whatever. And that's you don't want to be that. You want to be full of life. You want to be full of energy. You want that gleam in your eye and the fire in your belly. And that comes from movement, and that comes from watching and protecting the things that drain you of energy, Marie. So listen, it might just be 15 minutes that you're down. It might be an hour. You might just wake up and it's just like you feel weird today. Great. You recognized it, and get rid of it. Move around. Do what you need to do. But I'll tell you, if you pick up the phone and call 5 people today, you're going to feel a whole lot better about it. So just instruction-wise here, because we're talking mindset and big, things that are kind of in the ether. But like taking action, 5 people. Just call 5 people. I don't care if they answer, Maurice. Just call your 5 best leads, call 5 ugly houses, whatever it is. I know you have 5 numbers and addresses and names. Just call 5. You're going to feel a lot better. Danny.
All right, from Danny, I'm just getting started as a wholesaler. Any tips? Dude, best advice I can give you, don't worry about peripheral vision. Focus on yourself, your lane. I love what Albert was saying earlier. This is like your journey. Everything that's happening for you is you. Do not compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 15 is a very real saying, but also I'm guilty of it myself, and I would say that 99% of the world is guilty of it. It's very easy to look and get into wholesaling and real estate because it looks all sexy and you can make all this money, but then when you start to realize, you're like, oh my gosh, I have to live off of eating ramen for this, 6 months, or I have to have 6 months of reserve saved up. You just have to make sure that consistency, and then understanding that you are not worrying about other people, you're worrying about yourself. That's the biggest advice I got.
Yeah, just don't quit too. I think the biggest people that I've never seen someone that just decided that they're getting on the phones every day and hitting it hard and talking to sellers, and then they didn't end up succeeding. Right? It's the people that just are like, it doesn't work.
Or they try 2 days out of the week, and then they're like, man,
2 months.
I'm doing this, but there's nothing coming.
If you can convince yourself, it's just a matter of when. If it's 6 months, a year, but if I just stay consistent on this, I'm going to make it happen. So you just have to go into it with that.
The number one word that needs to stick into your brain, Danny, is the word sustainable. Sustainable effort, sustainable action, sustainable schedule. Because listen, you probably have different responsibilities. I don't know how old you are. I don't know if you have a family or kids or job or bills or whatever else, but you've got some responsibilities already baked into your life. Everybody does, right? You might be caring for your parents. You might be caring for your siblings, whatever it is. There's things that we have to do. You need to fit this into your life where it's sustainable. So you have to take a hard look at your schedule and determine, when am I going to have quality conversations with distressed property owners?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Answer that question and be consistent and take sustainable action. It is impossible. It's undefeated. All right. It's impossible for you to fail. It is. I mean, I'm just telling you.
Live and prove. Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Awesome.
From Quet. When double closing, do you have your own capital to close the first closing, assuming you have a buyer ready to close the same day? Or is there another way to execute this type of deal? Thanks.
Double escrow.
Yeah, double escrow. So what we do when we double close is I actually have our end buyer. They bring the funds that's going to cover both legs of the transaction. So it is a same day close. We have an A to B contract and we have a B to C. The B to C is the one that's going to have the terms that supersede and have X amount of dollars more than what the A to B contract is for purchase price. So if my A to B is $200,000, my B to C is $215,000. I would have obviously some closing costs that are tailored into all that, but then we'd walk away with the difference. It'd probably be around like $10,000 to $12,000. So we do that double close. Title handles all the documents. The only thing that we needed to provide to them was the A to B contract, and the B to C contract, they handle the rest.
Yeah, we typically in New Jersey on our deals is we just take we take title. We want to just go smooth, our own funds. We just want it closed.
Yep.
And then we try to then immediately resell and use the same title company since they already cleared title. And then they could just sell it. But we don't do the same days in New Jersey because, like I said, there's attorneys involved, a lot of things. We just want to really always make sure that we're executing on our deal.
Yep.
So
do you use your own capital then?
Yeah, private capital on those.
Okay.
Fund 100%.
100% rehab.
Right, 100% everything,
or
or
purchase price,
just purchase price.
Yeah.
Do we pay a little extra in closing costs? Sure, but for us, just getting the security of locking up the deal, getting the deed, makes more sense to us than if we just have an end buyer day of closing and then he doesn't show up. So.
Right.
Hey, I mean, not even that, but that's proof of concept, like you said. Now you're proving to the title company, hey, I'm Ricky, I closed. You're proving to that distressed buyer, like, oh, I actually did what I said.
Yeah, it's an easy conversation to have.
Yeah.
We're like, we walk into the appointment, we're like, we are closing. So it does.
And your reputation
and they're
goes
also in a
across.
position too, correct me if I'm wrong, where when you buy these deals, where you buy them, they're steep enough that, let's say, God forbid, the situation where the buyer doesn't show, it's probably enough spread to where you guys would take it down since you already own it, and you're like, we'll make money regardless.
Yeah. We only like on super tight ones, those are the ones and deals we don't like. Those are the only deals we actually wholesale now.
Gotcha.
To kind of minimize that risk, but everything else, it's like I said, we're not a high volume game, so we're only buying deals we really like and we're happy to close on.
For sure. I think that's a good balance there with the two answers. I mean, you got the double close where got same day, and then
you can also look into transactional funding.
Yep.
The issue I have with transactional funding is they charge you like 1 to 2% of the amount for wiring in funds for 5 minutes.
Yeah,
literally.
I'll transactional fund if anyone wants it on those rates.
Gap funding.
Yeah,
right.
You have everything lined up.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
How do people get a hold of you?
Instagram is probably the best way if you guys are looking for some transactional funding. We have a lot of private money that sometimes.
What's your Instagram handle?
At real estate Ricky _. Best way to shoot me a DM.
Can we put that across the screen, Matt?
But I think to your point, Brent, there's other ways to do it, know. But if you do want to get in a situation like that, us as the lender on that, it's like 5 minutes, use our money and lend on the deal.
Hey, listen, you, typically on those you have to show that you've got it sold to somebody already, right? You got to get proof from the title company that everything's clear and everything's going
needs
smooth
to be,
and everything's going to be.
Everything's
They just need the funds from you.
Everything needs to line up for sure, but
there you go.
There's always ways.
And then
to
the question is, why do double closing and not an assignment? So we can go into that if somebody has a question. I've got a seller finance deal that I want to flip. I've got $20K but need another $20K for reno. I'm willing to pay 30% but no bites within my circle. Where do I go from here? Fantastic, Christopher. So I've got $20K, need another $20K for the reno. Interesting. All right, what do you guys think?
So I'd be curious to know what that first $20K is, because if you're like, are you into it for no money down? What are the terms of the seller finance?
Right. Yeah.
And then 30%. You're willing to pay 30%. I'm telling you right now, I got a guy right here that'd be willing to do it for 30%.
if it makes sense and we like the deal, I think it depends too. Are you getting no bites because you just have like no one in your circle, or is it like the deal's not that great too?
Right.
Some people come and it's like, hey, you want to fund on this? I'm like, I don't want to fund on that. I would never close on that. But if it's a good deal, typically good deals, the money finds you.
Dude, I was just gonna say,
more
like,
easily.
90% of the time people come to us, they always ask, like, how do I get in your circle? How do I bring you value? And most of the time, like a few years ago even, it was, oh, bring me money to bring for deals. Now it's like, bring me deals. Deals are harder to find than money.
Right.
And it's just the time we're at.
The other thing, Christopher, to look at, typically when the owner of a property does a seller finance, they want to earn the interest for us. So with this deal that I'm negotiating, it has a 2 year, he wants a 2 year prepayment penalty. So he wants at least 2 years of interest coming to him, because that's why, he prefers this over just a cash offer.
He doesn't want you.
So the question is, why are they not just wanting to get cashed out? Why are they doing a seller financing situation if it's a smoking deal, but it also needs renovation? So there's a couple things there as I was reading that, Christopher, that were kind of sticking out to me, like, is this guy going to be happy if you just flip the property? Why didn't he just want cash out in the beginning? Maybe you've worked it that way so that that he gets a little bit more, you give him a little bit higher price, but does that eat up the profits?
Right.
And maybe that's why people are a little bit hesitant to go in with the 20K. Love to hear more, but I think that offering 30% is strong. I do. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if whoever gives you the money wants 50 though.
I think 20K too is, you could even possibly utilize like 0% credit cards out there, and use that, cash advances and stuff to do that. I know people that, now you have to be smart with that, don't go crazy with it. Right. But there are creative ways if you're smart about it and you have good deals that you can always kind of find money, especially, 20K.
Yeah.
And if you believe in the deal, keep pushing.
Right.
Devin, my bros.
Mr. Burr.
Okay, Mr. Burr. Speaking of Burr, he's got like a bazillion people following him on TikTok.
Yeah, he's the TikTok.
He's crushing the
I told Mr. Burr to get on TikTok when we were golfing.
There you go.
Months back.
Now look at him.
I know, crushing it.
He's happy as can be. Quick question: what have been your biggest struggle, and how do you get over them? Ego.
Okay. There you go.
Honestly, in my 20s, for sure. The issue is, in your 20s, it's almost like you're competing against all other 20-year-old men, right? For the ladies, for the stuff, for success. You still have like this hangover from high school of all the thoughts and connections, and you want to just rub it in their smug faces how good you're doing, and it turns you into kind of a monster if you pull yourself back and really relax and just think about the value that you're providing. Think about, you've got this chance to be on this planet that, the odds of you being here are so astronomical that you shouldn't be here. I mean, it's bananas. We're so fortunate to have the opportunity that we need to chill out a bit. You know what I mean? Chill the ego down. There's a great book called Killing the Ego or Kill the Ego. One of them, it's fantastic. And so I would say that is probably the biggest struggle, because what happens is when you start feeding that ego, you stop taking action that got you the success that you had. You start thinking you need to be a boss, CEO, blah, 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 blah. Look at me popping bottles, going to the clubs, driving the foreign cars, living in mansions, doing all this stuff. You over leverage yourself. It's not practical financially, and it's not sustainable financially. You start alienating yourself and start, being just a weird person to be around, and nobody gives a shit. Nobody your high school friends and their things, they're having kids, they have dogs, they have careers, they have school. They don't care. Nobody cares. Nobody really cares. Nobody's going to come and be like, I can't believe how successful you are. How did I ever pass up on you? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I'm telling you right now. So, anyway, go ahead.
I love that, Brent. Thank you.
Right?
Right?
This isn't,
literally.
You're not a prince that's going to Maryland to pick apples in, the fall and fall in love with some, it's whatever. Anyway.
My biggest struggle was mindset.
Sure.
At 18, I did not believe in myself. I did not believe any of this was possible. I just thought that I was like, guys like Brent are over here making millions of dollars.
Yeah.
I could probably do this. I mean, I think I shared with you guys, when I first started, my mindset was, I could get a deal by 30. If I could get a deal by 30. So it was just always the mindset struggle. It was really just having to find a way to actually, one, believe in myself. And then two, once you start actually understanding that anything is possible, it's just anything. You got to get your reps in. You got to make sure you're working your mindset and working your strengths with that. So it was then just taking consistent action with pouring into self-development. It was not just, okay, I can actually do this. It's, I can do this, but now how do I create this lifestyle? How do I create this routine and amplify that to everybody's life around me? So
love it.
Mindset was my biggest struggle.
Yeah, for me, I think it's finding that balance between ambition and living the life you kind of want. A huge struggle right now for me is this thing. I just I'm consumed by it. I have 10-hour screen time a day, with all this stuff. Yeah, it's not good, but I always feel like there's something else I could be doing.
Why do you think it's not good?
Because
I'm gonna challenge you
okay.
on this. I'm gonna go Gary V on you on this.
Okay. Well,
because this is new to humans, right? Yep. We're all cyborgs. You realize that, right?
Right.
We're all connected to this thing. We're all cyborgs. We're all part machine. We're all that. But there's this whole thing where oh, your eyes are going to go bad by the screens. Your brain's going to fry out here, blah, blah, blah. You're being successful. You're hustling using this thing, which this thing used to be like 3 people on your staff. You used to have have 3 people that do what your phone does right now. Yep. So I feel like this is like the greatest gift ever, but
yeah.
We're meant, and people are like, oh, you're always on your phone. I mean, I think it's inappropriate if you're at dinner and everybody's like, and you're having an intimate conversation, you're just constantly going like an addiction. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, like sometimes, for instance, like, me and my girlfriend hanging out at the house, it's late, right? And it's like I'm answering like a TikTok comment or something.
Yeah.
It's like I think finding that balance between, it's like I don't really get enjoyment out of doing all that. Like if I'm building this life, right?
Yes.
Yes. I want to be able to I don't want to feel like a prisoner of I'm always
on call. I'm always like
I always just have like something else I could be doing. So it's been the greatest gift, right? Without a doubt.
Yeah.
And it's not something like I want to be on my phone because that's where money is made.
Yeah.
But I think it's like finding like you build up this business, you're making all this money. It's finding you want to have that lifestyle of being able to be fulfilled and relax and enjoy your time. And sometimes with always being on call, I always say like my life feels like I'm always working and I'm always not working.
Yeah.
So I think maybe if I find ways to structure
that is the perfect definition of an entrepreneur.
Yeah. So I think if I could find like some like I'm going to Tulum for my 1-year anniversary with my girlfriend next week, right?
Terrible reception in Tulum.
Good.
I'm telling you.
Okay, good, because I kind of need that. Right. You know what I mean? Like I think finding some time to just being able to after this time maybe put the phone away or just kind of creating a little bit more structure in my day-to-day process, I think is
well, here's the thing.
It
depends on what you're using it for. And let's be honest, it's either it's entertainment, it is business, or it is education, right? It's one of those 3 things that we're doing, and it just depends on what you're using it for. If you're in there always being entertained and you're living in the world of the phone, I could see that being an issue for entrepreneurs. But you're literally providing value by answering people. You're literally providing value by communicating. You're literally providing value by checking. You know how many people like you text and they never text you back? Or you DM them or whatever and they never DM you back? Like a lot.
Yeah.
Most. Right. In business. Yep. In business. Right? And I think it's a great habit for you. I think unplugging and doing that type of thing is great. But I get it. It just depends on if you're getting in. You're making the TikTok and then you fall in the
TikTok stuff too, man. That algorithm's
gosh.
good. It's like all of a sudden you're like, oh, but and then also it's like you want to.
It's a good algorithm.
And if you're on social,
I love it.
How do you keep up with like what you should be posting? How you do have to kind of stay within tune of the consumption in order to make good value in content as well. So I think
2 million views in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah,
awesome. Albert, you?
Biggest struggle. I struggle with. I think I set my benchmarks. I set my benchmarks high, right? Which is, a lot of people to me tell me I do a lot. To me, I feel like I'm average. So a lot of things is I don't recognize. My biggest struggle is I don't recognize how many things I'm doing, and I really reflect enough to be like, wow, I am doing a lot, because my view is so far up there. Like I set the benchmark so far high for myself that I don't really take full appreciation. Like, wow, I did really well. Like where I am in my position, and I was just talking with Ryan about this on the way here, but I've learned to start taking a step back and realize, all right, I'm very proud of what I've done so far, but I know I'm not close to anywhere. I'm not anywhere close to being done yet.
Yep.
So it's really that reflection point of like, yeah, I did do good today, or it's just like, I did call 10 people today, had 2 great conversations, not comparing myself to, wow, he did 50 contracts this month. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's that always, it's staying with, putting your horse blinders on, staying in your lane, understanding that, hey, I am doing a lot, proud of it, reflect on it, be grateful, and then keep stepping forward.
Love it. And guys, anybody that is interested in that Burr method, Devin Burr has a phenomenal TikTok, Instagram. So follow him, like him, give him love, comment, and check out what he's got going on. Does a phenomenal job.
He buys deals.
Yeah. Or he actually does the business.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is a 2-part question.
Two-parter here. Justin May, there he is. Can you explain how building relationships with real estate agents actually help wholesaling? Oh, right. This is like, let's.
All right.
All right, get on the soapbox. Here we go.
So, how building relationships with real estate agents help wholesaling. So I don't like leading with this part, but I always say most agents, unfortunately, are not going to be good at their jobs.
Right.
So you want them to be as equipped as possible with as many tools on their tool belt. When you are able to teach them about wholesaling, teach them about how you invest, how you wholesale, fix and flip everything, you are basically getting a free bird dog. You are building this person up to go and find these properties. And guess what? If you're the one showing them how to go and invest, be this investment side agent where they have all these tools, they're probably going to be bringing all the deals that they find to you. So I always say, like, what we always talk about on the show is, like, there's multiple people that are on your team. Title, lenders, real estate agents, other wholesalers, the people that are on your team. Like, be friends with everybody. This, especially agents. These are the guys that are down in the trenches, that are going into these houses, that are seeing the properties that are distressed, that are talking to homeowners. And guess what? Sometimes when we're not making calls, these agents are the ones that are calling the homeowners trying to get listings. So all they're looking for is that one yes as well. So the minute that when they get that listing appointment and they walk in and the house looks like shit, you're going to hopefully be the first call. So building relationships with agents, if anything, is probably the most efficient and best relationship that you could have in this business.
Love it.
Yeah, we just bought a flip from an agent, and it was just through social media. Something I've done every day for the past year and a half. I go on Instagram, I do like hashtag like NJ Realtors, and then I follow a bunch. Realtors, they're pretty bad at making social media content for the most part. They have like 3 likes on stuff, so I give them a like, I comment, and then
that's great.
I give them a like, I comment.
Oh, I love
So I go to
that.
recent, like hashtag whatever, AZ
so smart.
Realtors, NJ Realtors, your market, right? And I just follow every single realtor.
And like what they like.
Like what they like.
Like their stuff.
Probably half of them then kind of follow me back, and then and now they're in my funnels, you know. And then on my stories, it's always, hey, looking to buy deals in NJ that look like this, and show, you know, some crap looking property.
That
you know, I'll get
so
you paid.
smart.
You know,
Well, and I mean, also to that point too, it's like what I always teach. The hardest part of the investment side is finding a deal. We were talking about that earlier. The hardest part on the traditional side for agents, for real estate agents, is finding a client. You are going and liking everything, and they know you're buying because they can see properties that you buy and flip.
right.
Guess what? They have a client, and if you can go and promote yourself to as many agents as possible, they all have a client. And so then you've got agents fighting for who can bring you the most deals.
Yep.
I love being in that position.
And they're seeing your stories.
Absolutely.
Right. And they see you're actually doing
That is
business.
so
Like when I
smart.
first started, I was cold calling agents, just like down a list.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, like I'm a buyer, and they're all like, yeah, I kind of have like pocket buyers and stuff,
I've
you know,
got
kind
that,
of like
right,
get lost. But everyone's on their phone, social media, once again, creating content. So it's like they see you're doing a lot of business. People want to do business with people that are doing business.
Absolutely.
So it's a great way to not have to tell them, but just, you know,
Absolutely.
just making known what you're doing, show your flip, show your projects, and people reach out with opportunities.
All right, we got the second part of the question. The average sale of the home in my area is $130,000. How would wholesaling big deals work in my area? So by big deals, are you referring to bigger spreads, or are you referring to bigger price points? What I would say is I can answer both of those. If you're trying to go bigger spreads, it's easy. Just get it lower. 130,000, you got to be finding properties that are going to just need a little bit more work, or most importantly is finding the seller that has a very specific motivation to where they need to sell quickly. If you're looking for higher price points, you might have to venture out a little bit outside of that one realm that you're in, where 130,000 is the average price point. For me, our average price point, I could tell you, is at least over that $500,000 mark. We found that, especially in Arizona, this market being as competitive as it is, that 150 to like now even 300 range is a bloodbath. We've got so much competition. So for us, we started targeting like that $500,000 up range, and our assignment spread went from a $13,000 average to $20,000 average, plus commission too.
I think though, like we're in a market where we do a lot of wholesaling or like as is double closes. We don't flip.
Just
in this,
take it down. Put it
yeah,
back.
in the ghetto of New Jersey, Trenton, New Jersey, capital, but it's like bad spot. But we've done 4 or 5 deals this year. We made between 25 to 50K on, and the purchase price was under 10K.
Yeah.
On the house.
Yeah.
So you can make big spreads on cheap deals.
Yep.
So I don't think you necessarily have to be changing an area. It goes back to just, once again, finding distressed situations, and a lot of times in the
Solving
cheaper
problems, yeah.
in the cheaper areas, you're going to get more activity of distress and problems and stuff.
As long as they have the understanding of the price points and they're not looking for the moon and the stars, being like, oh man, I
Right.
want 130,000, it's worth like 60.
Right, or if it's a bunch of landlords, you know, obviously try to filter out some of them.
Justin, if you're still on here, let me know what city you're in. I'm curious.
Yeah.
130 feels very, very low for average sale, but
Yeah.
I mean,
Unless it's a Midwest state,
Right.
maybe.
Yeah.
But
yep.
it's going to be hard to sell to flippers with that low of a ARV possibly too.
The only thing
because
that'd be nice to me, I guess,
You
is
buy,
like
you sell to
burn.
you sell it to
landlords,
rentals.
yeah, landlords,
People that are
rental
gonna go in
portfolio
for-
buyers.
yeah.
And sorry for keep checking my phone here. I'm like playing games with this seller. He can't talk until
was gonna say,
11:30,
get
and
him
then
on.
I've got sending it to my wealth management guy, and he's like, "What's the deal? Let me break it down and let me look at it." So. Really interesting. Once you get to a certain level, bringing on what's called a family office, which is great. There's a company here, D-E-W, Jim Dew. He wrote a phenomenal book, and he's local here, and he works with just entrepreneurs, and he puts together a family. So insurance, tax planning,
All in one.
wealth management, opportunity. It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. So I'm trying to, coordinate this thing because the day starts going wacky after this. It starts getting action packed. Anyway, all right, Addison, I've done a deal already, but I'm unsure how the mortgage works in relation to the deal. Does the end buyer have a responsibility towards the mortgage? It depends on. I assume that this is probably a wholesale deal and not like a subject to
That's what it
or
sounds like,
something
yeah.
like that. So it gets paid off, Addison. So you would need to make sure. Remember, when it comes to wholesale deals, there needs to be two main criteria: equity and motivation. Okay, literally write it down,
Right.
put it everywhere, write it on your mirrors, keep it in your wallet or purse or whatever else. But it's like equity, motivation. So make sure that the mortgage is less than what you're willing to offer and what the owner is
When you
looking
say
to
less
get.
less than what they offer, can
Yes.
you break that down like visually? So if they
So
owe,
if they
like,
owe $80,000, your offer has to be $80,001 or more.
Okay.
To get that paid off through title. And it's really interesting if you're wondering if the owner wants to have a certain amount in their pocket after. Rafael Cortez did a phenomenal job yesterday. He sits down, and he was Sean Terry's acquisition manager forever. I mean, he's done thousands of deals. Anyway, he would sit down and say, okay, there's going to be two checks, right? One check is going to pay off what you owe in the house. The other check is how much you want in your pocket. Can you tell me how much that check in your pocket would need to be for us to do business?
Yeah, it's a great way of
Isn't that
not
great?
talking
I like
about the
that.
purchase price, but
Right.
talking
And
about
you broke it down into two separate.
yeah.
where
Now
you're
they're
basically saying, like, this-
visualizing too, like
Yep.
oh, all that money in my pocket. you
Well,
know
and
what
also
I'm
too,
saying?
like if their
Love
mortgage
it.
is X amount, for you to put that and visualize with them to say this check is going to cover this amount. Now we're at zero. Where are we at? Because instead of asking purchase, you're asking like what they want.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, totally.
I love it.
We pull at least 35% equity off prop stream just to avoid talking to sellers.
Yeah.
We don't do creative deals, so yeah, if they don't have any equity, there's just not a whole
Yeah, it
lot,
doesn't-
no matter their situation or problem, that we could really do.
Yeah, and if they've owned the property for a while and they haven't, just assume they haven't sucked all their equity out of the house. Because a lot of these people, maybe don't have good credit, maybe can't qualify to get a home equity line or something like that.
Yeah.
So for the most part, you can be pretty safe if you go. If they've owned it for at least 7 years, you can
Yeah.
assume that either the debt's been paid down, appreciation has kicked in,
Yep.
one of those two things. So there you go, or both. Tretta, thank you for sharing all the amazing content. Is flipping a viable beginner strategy? What would it take for a beginner to make it happen? Any tips?
So I do recommend brand new starting out, do a few wholesale deals. Once again, to your point, wholesaling is where it all begins. It's about finding good deals. If you get really good at finding deeply discounted properties, flipping becomes very easy because you know what? Like for instance, our flips, typical flip in New Jersey, we're buying for $100K, rehab's 50, 25 in holding, and we're selling 275 to 300.
Love it.
Right?
Love it.
Huge spread there.
Yeah.
So when you have a six-figure spread, if everything, and that's kind of projecting like worst case scenario when we run our numbers.
Yep.
So when you have a big spread like that, the rehab could go really bad. A permit could take an extra 3 months, and our holding costs get worse. So I think if you're going to, your first flip should be something cosmetic only, where you don't need to pull permits. I think it should be something very cookie cutter, where when you look at comps, low days on market, easy to comp. There's literally the same model house that's like across the street
Slam dunk.
that just
Slam
sold,
dunk,
and see what that looks like, and just literally copy and paste that same, don't over rehab. I think a big mistake, new rehabbers, they watch HGTV, they're watching Pace and Jamil's show and all these cool things they're doing, right, to houses. But when you're first, you got to be boring, boring flips. Don't over rehab and look at the comps. Rehab just nice enough to those. Try to be in and out and buy deep deal. When you buy the deal deep, when we buy those deals for $100K and we know when we fix them out, we're going to sell them for 300. We're not losing sleep at night because we know things could go wrong and there's still the market could change. Right. It's a low price range, so all those things I would say try to stay in a lower price range too to lower those holding costs.
I think Trada, it comes down to a couple things. If you want a more open schedule, a more open lifestyle where you can you have more options with the time that you have, and you like making money, you got to wholesale. Yeah. I mean that's what it is. But I see your fantastic style. So maybe the creative side of you, that really wants to make an impact, there's a lot of satisfaction of driving by a property that you flipped and you changed the landscape or the face of that neighborhood. There's a lot of intrinsic value. Now, you're going to make more money wholesaling. You will, typically. You could do a lot more deals is what I'm trying to say. Yep. You're doing wholesale than traditional flips as you're getting started. But if you have that beautiful mind where you want to go in and do something creative and do something that's exciting, it's going to take more of your time. You're going to make probably the same amount of money, maybe a little bit more per deal, but probably less overall for the year. Yep. So if you want lifestyle and money, wholesale. If you want to scratch that creative itch and you want to have that, I'm really out there changing the world, I'm a real estate investor. Real estate investors own and buy and sell properties and own properties. That's a real estate investor. Wholesaling, we just find them. Yep. Right? This isn't real estate investing. Wholesaling is not. Yep. It's a different category. It's the ATM. It's the cash machine that funds all these other things. So it just depends on you. Love the picture, love the smile, love the colors, and just decide what you want to do. If you have that fire in your belly to be creative, do it.
And my partner in New Jersey, he does all the rehab. So that's like, without him, I would just wholesale. Right. So, if you have someone with those skill sets already, it can make sense. But yeah, if you're trying to do it all yourself, if I had to manage the rehabs myself, that would take away from the time of my most valuable time, which is finding that next deal. So luckily, I'm in a situation where I don't have to worry about the rehab to suck up my time. For sure. So if you're kind of in that position trying to do it all at once, I would say, just stick to wholesale.
I'm all about wholesaling. Wholesale first, build up enough capital, and then you've got the beautiful thing here, which is the option. You can hire somebody that can be a project manager. You could say, hey, I want this person to manage all my flips, and that way I can still focus primarily on wholesaling. And then you split part of the profits. Like, that's a whole other conversation. But there's so many different things. I always say start wholesaling, get your real estate license. It's like a little variable. Then go to fix and flip.
Love it. Maybe one more? Last one. Richard. There he is. How do you present yourself to a private hard money lender as reputable, trustworthy flipper? They don't care. Yeah. Hard money lenders are looking at the property, Richard. Only. So obviously go with certainty and likability. Certainty is that this is a deal. Certainty is that what you're going to do with this property. Likability is the tone of your voice. Yep. It's the energy behind your eyes. It's the smile on your face. It's this picture right here, Richard. So you go with that likability. You go with that certainty to the hard money guys. They're going to look at the property anyway. They're very analytical about it. There's very low emotion when it comes to hard money lenders.
Use that word. Emotion, they do not care at all. They're going to look at a property and they're going to say, yep, here you go, when do you need it by? Yep. And they're going to get everything set up with title. Yep. So.
And some hard money lenders might not lend to brand new investors, but some will. So if you talk to a couple and they're giving you a hard time for being a new investor, just keep shopping around.
I was going to say, I was just asking.
They're a dime a dozen hard money lenders. So just keep looking around. And I think to the private point is just show how to execute deals and show that you're an expert in this field, and then let that private money kind of come more to you.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yep.
Good stuff.
Awesome. Great show, guys. Thank you so much for participating. Thank you for jumping in here. We love all you guys. We encourage everybody. You know, the goal of this show is obviously to bring in the community and have these conversations and just be as open book as possible, but also to like leave with something that you can go and take some action on. And I think today's show really, when it comes to raising funds, the number one lesson of the show is be loud. Right? I mean, Ricky, you 2 million views on TikTok.
Yeah. Building a brand, Flip Lab, you know.
Doing your podcast.
It's a lot of energy and time, but then you let that thing build up. I mean,
so is marketing.
Right. It's all the same thing, but you got to be
Pick
loud.
your poison.
Yeah.
Pick your poison.
So go out there, guys. Be really, really loud. Be confident that you know what you're doing out there. And even if you don't have a lot of experience, just be loud, documenting your story, your progress. And people are going to really, really be engaged with that.
People love the struggle, like you know, being vulnerable.
They love seeing it.
Yeah, they love seeing the whole thing. So no matter what you're doing, just be loud.
For sure. And Ricky, where can people find you again?
At Real Estate Ricky _ on Instagram,
There it is.
TikTok at the Flip Lab. Same with YouTube at the Flip Lab. I have a Flip Lab podcast YouTube channel, so definitely check it out.
Right.
It was so
I
much
gotta
fun
go
having
lock
you
up
on.
this deal.
You got it.
Love you guys.
Appreciate you.
Great show. Great show.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
So, see you next week.
I ran up a check, I might do it again. Enemies close, had me thinking they're friends. 10 toes down, I'll be free until the end. Crib outside the city, I don't feel safe in my hands. Took so many years, I'm just waiting for the wins. I'm in debt to no one but the one who took my sins. I do it for real, there's no reason to pretend. If I do it once, I do it again. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me, everything is on me. Oh, you matter what? Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me, everything is on me. Oh, you matter what? Add it up. Told her if it's all me, everything is on me. Gon' back it up.